Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Build Your Business with Seniors and Investor, with your MAPS coaches, Danny Hara and Kent Leong. Please note this webinar is being recorded and you'll automatically receive the webinar recording. If you have questions for your coach, please type them into the questions box located in your webinar taskbar. Following the webinar, if you have any questions about today's coaching call or program, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. All right, that's all from me. Kent and Dan, you can go ahead and take it away.
Good morning and aloha, everybody.
Aloha.
This is Kent Leong. I'm one of Dan's business partners, and welcome to Build Your Business with Seniors and Investors.
Well, hope everyone's doing well today. It is, gosh, what time? 9:30 in Hawaii right now.
That's
so
right.
It's right quite a bit later for most of you. But thanks for getting into this free class, and hopefully you'll find it informative.
So, Dan, you've been in real estate now for several years, I think over 10 years. So tell us a little bit about yourself and the business that you've been able to create over the decade that you've been in business now.
It's actually been about 14 years, Ken. You've actually been in for 10 years, right? Yeah.
That's right.
So you joined me about 10 years ago. So started as a real estate agent, single agent, as all of us started, and then started doing well. Became fairly successful in the first year. My wife joined me, and then we just kept growing as time went on. And so in the stats that you'll see there, this year it looks like we're getting close to hitting our goal of 100 million. But I've been blessed to be part of Gary's mastermind group, and really that's where my mind and systems and everything that we do has been stretched thanks to being able to spend time with Gary. And he's actually the one that encouraged us to come out and do these group coaching classes. Interesting story. He said that when his mom got sick and needed care, he had to do all this on his own. And he said, "Dan, I wish I had you when I was going through this, because I had no direction or guidance." So he's a very strong advocate of this model with seniors and investors, and that's why we're here today. We've been in the top 100 realtors for the last 12 years or so. We've been really honored by being one of the fastest 50 growing companies of any kind in our state for 2 years in a row, which is really hard to do. We're also investors in Keller Williams Honolulu and Keller Williams on Maui. So if you have anybody that has any needs in Honolulu, Maui, or Kauai, let us know. We started this thing called the Complete Solution. It's really a family of companies that we've built over time. The Complete Solution was the complete solution for seniors and investors. Anything that they would need, we would be able to help them with. Well, buying, selling, investing in real estate, obviously in real estate sales. We have high property management. We started a property management firm. We have senior move managers in Declutter Hawaii, where that company goes in, and we have a staff that goes in to help people downsize, declutter, and then move, which is oftentimes the most challenging part of working with a senior, or for a senior to go from one place to another. We built Stage Hawaii, which is a staging company. We go in and do our own staging and monetize that. And then Silver Spoons, which is a nonprofit that Gary has recommended we all get to give back to the communities we currently live in. So Silver Spoons is a nonprofit designed to take care of older adults who cannot take care of themselves. And lastly, we built the Hara Training Development, also known as the Complete Solution USA, to encompass all of the training that we've had.
So I guess sleep is underrated for you, right? Because it doesn't sound like you sleep very much.
Actually, I sleep really good.
Okay, so, picture's worth 1,000 words. Why don't you just take us through the timeline when you started and the things that impacted you creating such a strong business over the years?
Well, in the beginning, I really built the business on working hard, picking up the phone, calling people, and working open houses. So most of our success came from face-to-face. So we got a listing, and then we got more listings and more listings, and over time, we built a model around it. And then one day, this lady said to me, actually 2 months into being a realtor, she asked me, "Hey, can you sell my house?" And she was a hoarder. And so I spent 6 months with this lady downsizing and decluttering it. And it's funny how God works sometimes. He put that in our path because that was the beginnings of what we call senior move managers in Declutter Hawaii. Then we started doing seminars, senior living options seminars. What happens when we get older? One of the if I want to stay home, how much does that care cost? What does it look like? What are the services that are available in my home? And then if I want to move out of my home, where can I go? How much does it cost? What does life look like? And so we built this model called Senior Living Options, and then everything just started taking off.
So you met that one client, experienced what it was like to work with a senior,
Yeah.
then started to create workshops that addressed the needs of seniors.
Right.
And at that time, I believe you might have been the only one doing that. And then you found a niche, right? And you took off. It kind of, well, it didn't take off immediately from there, but basically that thought process, that niche, that area that you focused on grew over time.
Yeah. It grew pretty quickly because we partnered with a retirement community that was brand new that needed to get a CCRC, that needed to get people to put a down payment of a large sum of entry fees, $300,000 to $800,000. So they had to sell their home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they couldn't sell their home because of all their stuff. So we became that solution for the retirement community and the senior to help them transition from their home to a retirement community and made it simple.
Okay, so let's look at some market stats, right? 40. Okay, so the market overview and the market opportunity, right? So these are the market stats. As you can see, Gen X, Gen Z, millennials, they represent a fairly large population. Yet you chose to focus on the seniors, which are the baby boomers, silent gen, and the greatest gen. Why did you choose to focus on that?
Well, actually, it was interesting because that was not intentionally initially, because that first listing was an older adult.
Mm-hmm.
So I understood it. And then I realized, like, wait a minute, all the very wealthy land was held by wealthy older adults.
Got it.
So if I'm looking for listings, then I need to find out where they're going and what their problem is. And their problem is their home doesn't fit them anywhere. Either it's too big, too many stairs, or what have you, and they had to find another place to go, but they didn't have a solution for that. So I became that solution.
Okay.
I became the sort of called placement consultant,
Okay.
and then also I shepherded them through the entire process, which they call the complete solution. Sort of weird. The baby boomers and silent generation, greatest generation, that's over 100 million people. So that's a large database. Over 10,000 a day are becoming in that generation. And what we found is the older adults, the older adults owned this wealthy land, and they weren't selling because the market was doing so great. Because actually, I started in 2005, and then as the market went down in 6, 7, and 8, our business kept growing. It's because they were selling because of a need, not because of a want.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So as the market's going down and it shifts as it is now, this is what we call a shift-proof market, right?
Okay.
Because they're not selling because, hey, my house is worth more than it did last year, and it actually might be the opposite of that soon in the next few years. So these people are selling because their home just doesn't work for them anymore.
Got it. Okay.
The other good side is they have a lot of equity.
Okay. So you talked about a shift-proof market. You talked about learning about the industry. So why have you been successful in this market? What makes you different than, say, the next average guy that says, okay, I'm going to go after the senior market?
Well, I think a lot of it is we really did a research. We focused our time and effort on gathering data.
Okay.
And what we needed to find out is, okay, who are these people? Well, we know they're 65 and older, typically speaking. Most of our clients, believe it or not, are 75 and older.
Okay.
And then we need to find out, okay, where can they go? If their home doesn't fit them, I need to be the solution to help them get to the next place. In order for them to sell or even think of selling, they need to know where to go. Okay. So they came to us before they even saw a realtor. By the way, I am a realtor, but they came to us first before other realtors. And so I wanted to understand where they're going. And one area is age-restricted properties. You have a lot of them out there, the Del Webb, so to speak, around the country. In our community, we only have really 2 or 3 of them, so not very many of them. In many parts of the country, there's dozens and dozens of age-restricted properties. Some are downsizing to a smaller house or a condo or townhouse, right? The kids are gone and they just needed something smaller, something that they maybe are still working, or maybe they just want to travel and not have to worry about the house.
Okay.
Some are moving in with their kids. Not that many are actually moving in with their kids, but we do see a small percentage of them doing that. Some are going straight into care homes.
Okay.
Now, when people go into care homes, it's typically because of a need, right? Their home, they physically can't live in their home, either because it's theirs or because they can't take care of themselves.
Okay.
They need help with the activities of daily living, right? So that's typically not a proactive decision. It's kind of a reactive decision to life. The proactive decision is a retirement community. And that's the ones that we're fans of, and that's the ones we built relationships with and around, is because this is an older adult that's maybe a little younger, maybe in their 70s, and they're thinking about the next 10 or 20 or 30 years down the road, what is life going to look like. And they've also seen their family members struggle taking care of their other family members. So many clients are looking at retirement communities because they don't want to be a burden to their kids.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And or the kids just aren't in that same state to take care of them.
Okay.
Right. And they know that with husband and wife, one of them will be less healthy than the other.
Okay. So, this is a 30-minute overview of the program. And earlier you mentioned that you've been able to learn a lot about the industry. I'll translate that into the client seeing you as the expert in the industry. And I'm assuming that every one of these bullets here, age-restricted properties, downsizing, moving in with children, care homes, retirement communities, there's a full set of information or knowledge that you have behind each of these bullets, which probably took you months and months and months, thousands of hours to gather, which would be impossible to share over this 30-minute call. But I think those are the things, right, Dan, that are key in your success, which is transferable to others.
Absolutely. And when I started, there was nobody in front of me, right? There's nobody doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody told me there was no roadmap for me.
Mm-hmm.
In this class, they get a roadmap, right? They get a total roadmap of where do we start, what are the next steps to go forward, and where do they want to spend their time and effort to yield the greatest results. When we started, though, we had no guidance. We just kind of stumbled through things, and we failed forward incredibly large number of times that we failed forward. And now it's really about, well, how do we package this to share with people that they don't have to fail as much as we did.
Mm-hmm. And I digress a little, but know that it seems like with this market, you're dealing with an older generation. You're dealing with a lot more face-to-face conversations, and credibility is extremely important. And so that's why these bullets here, these 5 bullets, are so important to your success.
Yeah. The other part of it is it's creating a huge network, right?
Mm-hmm.
Network around you. There were people, not only the end users see you as the expert in this field, other professionals do. And actually, right after this call, I'm having a financial planner come in here to better understand what we do and help their clients.
Okay, gotcha.
And that was built on this referral.
Okay. So kind of in line with a good segue into this slide here. So maybe you can cover this a little bit with us.
Yeah, why is it important to know your options, the senior living options? Well, number one, you really want to be known as the expert. And it took some time for us to be known as the expert, but over time, the more you're able to share this information, the more people see you in public sharing information, therefore the seminars really work well for us, or even small groups, that they see the knowledge base that you have once you gather it, that will only snowballs into something bigger and bigger over time.
So for bullet number 1, are you able to help other agents compress the amount of time that it takes to become that senior living options expert?
Oh, absolutely. Because we can help them understand what things they want to focus on and what things they don't want to focus on.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And then we have a roadmap.
And who to call?
Yeah. And how to call, and what are the scripts? Yeah, absolutely. It's really the approach that we've used that made us successful, because there's a lot of people in every market that are trying to figure this out, and they start and they fail and they stop.
Okay.
So that's why there's not that many people that are successful, because they've never had a model to follow up until now.
Okay.
The other is, people are going to call you for advice.
The financial planner, right?
Yeah, right. This one right here today. Financial planners, wills and trust attorneys, CPAs, I have been called, the state of Hawaii is calling us, right? Because you have the Office of Public Guardian, the Elderly Affairs Division,
Wow.
the Adult Protective Services. All of these governmental agencies call us as well because they know that we have the answers to some of those solutions.
This is pretty tough. I mean, it goes well beyond just the senior.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we build our business on referrals, and that's why this model really works well, because we don't see anybody else with this kind of information. Then really the sellers will know that you care. So they might be interviewing, they said, their friend says, oh, go talk to my realtor. But when you show up and you deliver a message that's completely different sounding and feeling than the other realtor, you're going to get that business, because they need somebody that understands that.
Understands their goals, right?
Yeah.
And it's not to just sell the house.
No,
it
no,
goes beyond that.
Not at all. Yeah, it's how they feel about you as a person, right? And what are you saying and doing to make them feel good about that? Well, we cover some of that in a deliverable on the approach to a senior and the approach to the retirement community, as well as advocates. Then once you help them find their new home, you're going to secure the listing for sure. We get listings signed. Typically for us, we'll get listings signed weeks to months out before they're even ready to go on the market, because they're going to sign with me before I do any work with them. And sometimes that work will take some time, getting their home ready for sale, making sure they know where to go, and so forth. And then it'll allow you to secure more referral business, not only from the older clients and their family and friends, because they do talk. I don't know if you've got a favorite watering hole in your community, or here in Hawaii, McDonald's. You go there at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, you see all these older people talking. Well, what are they talking about? Right? Aches and pains and where they're going to go, and they're talking about us, right? And then it's really the network of those trusted advisors that will bring a large amount of your business.
Okay, great. So, we talked about kind of the demographics, talked about the opportunities, we talked about learning about the market, right?
By the way, these 4 bullet points, just so you know, each one of these bullet points will be a deep dive for 1 hour in our group coaching class. So we're going to talk about the market and the overview and the opportunities there, and maybe the approach. The next week, we'll talk about senior living options, and we'll even deliver a seminar for you that you could even copy. We'll deliver to you in the third week, managing real estate assets, and the last one we'll talk specifically on how to secure the listing in that market. But managing real estate assets, yeah, that's a huge area for us. What we found, and this is just something we stumbled over time, is that seniors have assets, right? And a lot of the wealthy older, Gary Keller always draws a circle when we meet him. He draws a small circle in the middle and a larger circle on the outside and further circle on the outside of that. And he says, so guys, what's your bullseye? What's in the middle that you want to make sure that you are able to, what's your 20%? And really for us, it's a wealthy older adult. See, the wealthy older adult will not only have a piece of property that they live in, they will likely have other investment properties as well. When I talk to financial planners, they say almost all of their clients have at least one. Most of their clients have 2 or more assets of real estate that they have to manage, right, and deal with over time. So what it is these seniors, they bought these investment properties a long time ago, right? I mean, gosh, it's so common, Ken, right, to see an 85-year-old gentleman who's a widow that he bought his house for $25,000, now it's worth $1 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right? That's very common for us here in Hawaii.
Yeah, in a lot of markets that don't move as much in higher value areas, you're going to see a lot of that appreciation. These baby boomers are now inheriting a lot of real estate from their family. What we're going to find over the next 10 to 20 years is that we're going to see the greatest transition and transfer of wealth in America. And the transfer of wealth will come from when the baby boomers' parents pass away and they pass it on to the baby boomers. Okay? People in their 80s, 90s, and 100s are passing away, and it's going to their kids, okay, the baby boomers. Right? And they're not sure what to do with it. They're not sure how to handle it. Most of it will be liquidated and sold, so it's good to be in that circle, right? Um, but they're inheriting a lot of real estate, and now it's our opportunity to be the consultants to guide them through how to build wealth, how to transfer wealth, how to create a legacy with their properties. And you know, a lot of this real estate that these seniors have is greatly appreciated over the years, in all markets, right? And some of their investments that they own, their real estate holdings, could be underperforming. And I say that because you can have somebody that's owned a vacant land. Well, obviously that's underperforming because it has no income, right? Compared to something that could have an income. That's the best 1031 exchange client for you there. The other is we have a lot of older clients that have been managing it themselves, or have somebody that's been living there for 20 years. Oh, I don't want to raise the rent. Therefore, it's underperforming. The last one is just that they're at an age that at this point in their life, they just don't want to manage real estate, right? They just don't want to deal with it. Even if there's a property manager involved, they just don't want to have the feeling of stress of something going wrong or somebody not being happy. When you're in your 70s and 80s and 90s, you don't want that stuff. You don't need it, right? So they're looking for options, and our job is to. I said the other day with a bunch of financial planners, think of me as a real estate physician, right? We're in the real estate physician because I'm not going to prescribe something for you unless I understand where your pain is. And so we're going to have a consultation, and we're going to talk about understanding what's going on in your world and what properties you have. And then we're going to come up with a plan of execution so that we can solve the problem that you have. And they understand that and they get that approach. So yeah, it works really well.
Okay. So let's talk about listings and why you want to secure listings in this market.
Well, you know, frankly, for us, this is where most of our listings come from, our seniors, at least the higher price point, right? The highest price point comes from clients probably over 75, 80. Yeah. So what does our business look like if you dominated the investor space? Well, investors, they hold a lot of, these seniors, they have investment properties that they've had for a while, and it's really old money. It's not like they made a lot of money like this year or last year. This is money that was maybe transferred earlier on, or something they built when they were in their heyday, in their prime, in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, that they put money into. So it's kind of what we call old money, right? And most of these investors have more than one property. In fact, it's very common for most of our clients to have 2 to 15 properties all over the country. And thanks to Gary Keller and our network and Keller Williams, you know, we have a huge referral base, of which those who come to our classes will be on that list as well. And then the 1031 exchange allows you to secure more deals, right? It's really 2 transactions for every client at a minimum, right? Sometimes they'll sell 1 to buy 2. They have 3 transactions. And the beautiful thing is, you know, we're doing it all over the country now. And we have clients in different states that are selling and bringing it back to Hawaii, or we have some in Hawaii that want to move their assets to another state, right? So the referral business is a large part of our growth as well. And then, you know, you become the resource for all the advocates. The areas that we would suggest you focus on is financial planners. We'll take a deep dive into that at a different class. Private bankers, trust companies, CPAs, you know. Really the goal is to build a referral network unlike any other based on this model. And the model is really about understanding their options, understanding how to help people build wealth through investment properties, and to be the consultant versus just a realtor. And there are a lot of realtors out there. Gary talks about it a lot that, you know, during the shift, you have to differentiate yourself. So the question is, what are you doing to differentiate yourself? We did that before we even knew that we were supposed to. Not because we had a plan to, it was just, you know, it was organic that we walked into this model, and it's, you know, built a very large business because of that. So the referral network is huge, really to attract the wealthy, you know, not so much the first-time buyers or the lower price point, but more the upper price point. And then when you do that, obviously you secure the listing. The interesting thing though is a lot of them we're getting the listings and we're getting them to buy something else, right? At 1031 exchange, or they're buying down, or it just gives us more opportunities to get the other side. Right?
Okay, well, Dan, you've covered a lot of ground today, and it's almost time that we have to wrap up here. You've covered a lot of the whys, right? You covered, why the senior market, how large the market is, that they're wealthy, and it's a great opportunity. We're going to have 4 sessions, and I understand that in those 4 sessions, you'll cover not only reinforcing the whys, but the hows, which are very important, right? If you want to build your business around this kind of model, you're going to provide a roadmap and how to do that.
Yes, with scripts, with dialogues, with approach. The approach is really what differentiates us from everybody else. And, what we say and how we do it has been successful. To one, have the information, 2, to share it, and 3, to get people to want more of it. Right? And with that information, then we're getting listings based off of sharing that information, being the expert.
Excellent. Okay, so it'll be a 4-session engagement, 1 hour long, every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Central Time. So if you have an interest, be happy to have you log in, and we'll share all the information that we have with you over those sessions.
Yeah, for under $200, they get 14 years of experience that we've failed forward with. That sounds a little cheap for me, but that's okay. That's not our price.
Well, I think part of the Howard team and the goal of the Howard team is to give back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give back to the KW family. So
Absolutely.
that's probably the biggest reason why.
Yep. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. We look forward to you signing up to our class. It'll be an exciting time. And let us know when you come to Hawaii, if you ever choose to. You get a free surf lesson with me with every referral.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Mahalo, which means thank you in Hawaiian. Mahalo, and have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And to everyone who's still on the webinar, we do see your questions. Please know that we will be sending you a follow-up email with a link to register for those who are interested. And if you want more information, that link will be there for you as well. We'll also be sending out this recording to everyone who attended. We thank you and we appreciate you. Have a good one.